If I were Jason Bourne and I were trying to figure out who I was, I would be very frustrated after last night's dreams. I had four dreams last night, and the first one is completely gone. I can't remember that one at all. Um, I remember I remember parts of the other three, and they're fading fast. I I hope to get it to the point where I can get up and record the dreams when they're still fresh in my mind. But maybe there's something useful will come out of this morning's memories. Uh, in the first dream, it's all about bicycling. It's all about riding small bikes with baskets and riding through the countryside more than towns on an island. And this morning, it feels like the island was England, but I don't remember road signs. I don't remember anything except going around curves and under bridges and um, being very fast and beating out cars and other riders. And this went on for a good part of the dream. I can never estimate the time in the dream because they're timeless in a way. But it went on for quite a bit, and I was kind of racing against other bike riders as well as being able to cut through traffic and get ahead of cars. It morphed into a dream about a race because then it turns out that I was part of a group, uh, and in a way, I sponsored the group. And I don't know if I was in the group or I sponsored the group, and it was a group of young people, um, and they would all have the same uniform. They would have the same top on because it was raining. It was like um, a yellow rain top or uh, like a pullover. And the name of the group was Fry, Fry. And we were in a race. And to get in the race, we needed to have all the slots filled. And we were missing one slot. And it turns out there was a friend of one of the participants who feels like she was a friend of my daughter, although I don't remember my daughter being in the dream, but I don't know that she was a contestant. Anyway, we're all signed up for this race, and we have to have certain things to compete in the race, and we have to have forms that we filled, and everybody got forms and identification, and I was in charge of getting all that together, and somehow I was failing to do that. I was not organized enough. I wasn't sure that everybody was actually going to be in the race. And then that dream kind of faded away there. And that was the end of that dream. The next dream was me crossing a bridge. And I was crossing a bridge before or after a big truck. And the big truck was like some kind of special chemical truck. It was long, it was round, it was heavy. It had like tits at the bottom for letting the liquid or whatever was in it come out. And this truck would go over the bridge, and then it had to go over before I could go over. And then there were signs, and there was a detour, and we had to go to a round part of the road to get to the bridge. And then the bridge was out or something, and that dream just kind of stopped. Now it seems like, in my memory, it seems like the destination after going over the bridge was this resort town. And that's the next thing I remember is this resort town, and how there was some kind some kind of psychiatric crisis, and there were all these patients, and they were putting the patients up in all the rooms in the resort town except maybe 3. And then the 3 would be filled only in emergencies. And I had to cover the person who was seeing the 3 people. And it turned out it was this guy who wasn't too sharp. And I had to go in and figure out if he was getting it right or not. And then, okay, his proceeding with the treatment of the cases. And then it turns out there was a woman who was seeing one of the cases. And I had to evaluate her also. And it was all about not wanting to go in there and have to evaluate them. It was all a matter of hoping that enough time would elapse that I was no longer on duty, or I no longer had to cover for them. And I was just hoping they would drag it out and before they would call on me, so I would get out of it. So those were the 3 dreams last night. It seemed like I was dreaming all night long, and I kept waking up and kind of drifting back into sleep, and that's, we'll see what that was worth. I don't know. I don't know what that will help.